I do have an update for you guys about Catelynn and Tyler, by the way. Do you remember yesterday we were saying how they owe Kale a big fruit basket because Kale's controversy with her allegedly moving in her latest boyfriend, that took all of the heat from them having these texting relationships with minors, using grooming language, encouraging the minors to, disregard their parents, disobey their parents, keep secrets from the parents, send them photos, tell them where they live, all sorts of really creepy things. Obviously, we don't think that they had any kind of romantic adult interest in these children, no. But it's more so something like along the lines of, you're doing all of this, it's inappropriate, and it's with the goal of having contact with your daughter who your biological daughter who doesn't want to have contact with you too. That's not okay to kind of usurp her boundaries like that, right? Well, I've got an update for you about it. Remember how Tyler initially, and one of you guys broke this live here on the Morning Report when he went on his Instagram stories and he made this big essay saying something along the lines of, Kate and I are not going to respond to all of the crazy rumors that come out about us. And didn't I tell you guys, I said, look, he didn't deny it. All he said is that he's not going to respond to every rumor, but he didn't deny it. And if someone is accusing you of having inappropriate conversations with a damn minor, you would vehemently deny that as an adult because it's inappropriate, right? That's what I would have done. If someone said, oh, I saw Grace Report having these conversations with this minor, asking this minor for photos of this person and, keep it from their parents. I'd be like, hell no. What do I have to do with why would I be talking to one of those? For what reason? That's disgusting. That's inappropriate. Hell no. That's what I would say. So to me, his little rant and word salad was a very obvious, kind of bam, distraction, smokescreen from the fact that he never outright denied it. And so now they admit that they were having those conversations. They have excuses, but they admit that they were having those conversations. By the way, welcome, Amanda. Thanks so much for becoming a channel member. I actually put up a video for the channel members with all the tea that I have been promising since yesterday. I put it up today just before we went live today. So you can go ahead and check that out after today's episode of the Morning Report, boom. And by the way, the rest of you members, did you guys get to watch it yet? Or is that something you're watching later? She says, and mind you, they're stalking a child that isn't legally theirs. Exactly, right? So finally, they have come out and admitted to what they were doing. They've got a lot of excuses, but they admit to it. So let's get into it, right? I see BB says exactly. Just reminds me of the movie Fernandin not denying it. That's the thing. When allegations that strong come out against you, you have to deny if it's not true, right? Take a look at this. Continue to leave all of your comments in the live chat. I will be putting them up on the screen. And if you're part of my playback posse, let us know what you think in the comment section so we can chat with you down there, okay?
It was hard to ignore those two people trying to catfish us because the information was so intense and concerning that we felt like we had a duty to kind of play their game in a way to get to the bottom of this.
Well, I think one of them, the one person that supposedly goes by Jenna or whatever, okay. This person I kept asking her for proof because I didn't believe her and she could never send me the proof. And so I was like, well, I don't believe you. I can't believe you, But before it got to that point, she was messaging me things saying that the daughter we relinquished is not allowed to speak about her siblings in the home. She's not allowed to talk about that she's adopted. All these things.
She wants to contact us, and they're not letting her do that. They mentioned stuff about religious stuff, kind of cult-like sounding allegations that were super concerning, which was the main thing that kind of got me and Kate worried enough to kind of continue talking to them because like I said, the concerns and the allegations they were saying were really hard to ignore. I think even as normal parents, but especially as birth parents who don't have a lot of information, it was scary.
Hang on. I don't know why it keeps muting. Sorry, you guys. So there you go. Yes, they say we were engaging in those conversations, but we outsmarted these people. We knew that it was all BS. Yet there are, on Kate's part, there were several text messages. This isn't there's no way you're legit. I'm going to stop. No, she was speaking to this person over the span of a couple of days. And then Tyler was sending novels, having like theological debates with who he thought was a child, right? So how do you go from sending these novels over days, weeks, to somebody to saying, you know what, like, I knew that wasn't like, you know, a legit person. Like, why were you debating religion with somebody? What does that have to do with Carly? And why would you be doing that if you didn't think the person was legit, right? Why would you be telling somebody while you're trying to suss them out, hey, your parents, they're lying to you about religion. I think that your religion is creepy. I think that your religion is like, you know, restrictive. You need to rebel. Kids these days, they don't rebel enough. Like, none of that has justified what was going on in these conversations, right? So what I showed you guys was just a little bit of a teaser. The full interview apparently lasts 2 hours, and it's going to be airing tomorrow on that podcast. In fact, I don't even know the name of the creator, you guys. I'm sorry, but I don't know the name of the creator, but I will be sharing the links with you guys in the community tab when it does come out. Okay, you guys, 2 hours. Listen, that's another thing that they have a problem with. They talk too damn much. That's how you get in trouble in life, by talking too damn much. Why would you agree to talk to somebody for 2 hours? And you know that you like to ramble. I'm looking at you, especially Tyler. Listen, I don't think they're bad people, right? I think that they're just people who are desperate. I think there are people who, you know, have allowed their desperation and their trauma to clog their reasoning skills and their mind. So I'm not saying this to make fun of them or anything like that, but like, Tyler loves to ramble, right? And so I think somebody like that should have controlled this on his own podcast platform. Listen, what would Kale do? If this were Kale's situation, do you think she would give away such a big story to somebody else, or would she handle it on her own damn podcast? Look at Kale and her situation, what she's got going on. She's not going to talk about it on somebody else's platform. She's going to talk about it on her own damn platform, because that way you can truly control the narrative. And that way, if you accidentally say something that you shouldn't have said, you can cut it out, right? Go through several rounds of editing. So anyway, I'm just saying, listen, they're doing this all wrong, in my opinion, but I digress. And it looks like you guys are incredibly upset about this as well. In fact, the comments that I was seeing in the comment section for that video, they were not good. Like, people were saying like, this is inappropriate. Like, I'm over them. I'm done with them. Like, people were really, really like not feeling this situation. And a lot of people who were even fans of them as well. Like, this is not people who just never liked them, who are just, you know, piling on. Like, a lot of people, you know, they're still speaking from a place of like, no, like, we get what you're going through, but this is just not okay. And I can no longer support you because of the messages that you were sending about telling kids to disrespect their parents, telling kids that their religion is wrong, telling kids that they need to keep secrets from their parents. Like, that behavior is just too much for me. By the way, shout out to you, Ronnie. Ronnie says there are 240 in the chat, guys. Hit that like button. If you're enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, it's a very quick, easy, and free way to support the channel. It lets YouTube know to keep on resurfacing my content to you guys so that you don't miss out. And other people like you who are also into gossip and mess and whatnot. A lot of you guys in the chat seem to be saying that it kind of appeared, you know, at this rate, that Carly might not want anything to do with Catelynn and Tyler, given all of this drama. And I would hate for that to be the case, but I also would not be surprised if that were the case. And that's what really pisses me off about this, you guys. Carly is 16 years old. In just 2 years, not even 2 years, in a year and a half, she will be 18 years old. And if she really wanted to contact these people, she would contact them. So why go and attempt to burn the bridge once and for all at this point when she's already at this age? You know, and this is just going to make it impossible for you guys to get an invite to her graduation, her high school graduation, her university, like all this stuff, right? When you speak so poorly about her parents and then you put out these like nasty things about her parents and whatnot, what do you think is going to happen? Now she's going to be in such an uncomfortable place where she can't even invite you to big moments in her life without having some sort of anxiety about how it's going to make her parents feel because of the way you've been publicly and now privately berating them and just talking crap about them. OnlyFacts says, hi, Grace. I finally made another live. I love commenting and talking with you and everybody, but could barely ever do it. So happy to see you back, OnlyFacts. Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode. I think there was somebody else who said that she was able to pop by today, too. It was Linda. Hey, Linda, thanks so much for joining us today. And shout out to you, Terrell. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the content. And once again, Amanda, thanks so much for signing up to become a channel member. Amy, I do agree with you as well. Amy says that she feels most sorry for Nova Vita and Raya. Well, that's the thing. You even forget that they exist half the time with the way that these two are so fixated on Carly. I get it. The situation is tough. I get it. You were too young to really know what kind of life-altering decision you were making at the time. But what's done is done, and you need to kind of make peace with that decision in one way or another and just focus on pouring all of your love, devotion, and attention into the 3 beautiful children that you have at home, and just hoping for the best and that, you know, your firstborn will eventually come back. But this is just not the way to go about it. Hey, Nadia, we missed you, boo. It's been a while. Is this part about Kate and Ty? Yes, it is. What's your reaction to the doctor that didn't give them the video of Carly singing? Isn't that just to piss off Kate and Ty? Well, you know, I was kind of curious as to why all of that was, but I really do feel like there was potentially a message hidden in the song, either the song choice that Carly made, or maybe afterwards she would say, you know, kind of like, I'm happy where I'm at. Hope you're happy where you're at. Peace out. Like, you know, do your own thing. I'll do mine. And maybe they, you know, like it felt as though for them, it wasn't, oh, we want to like see and react to this in private. To me, it felt as though they were nervous that there would be a secret message somewhere, and they didn't want that to get out without them having any kind of approval. And I don't think it's fair. You're on a reality show. Your kids are experiencing all of these major firsts for the first time, and they don't get a say in whether or not, you know, they get to take a step back and live it for the first time out of camera or not. You know what I mean? Like, and I agree with Shay here on TikTok, who says that they need to forgive themselves. And that's a really important thing. It feels like they haven't, and they really should, right? Papa Dema says it's so weird that they keep pretending they have no idea if his OnlyFans upset them. They can't be that dense. Listen, I think so too. I really, really do think that the OnlyFans probably was the straw that broke the camel's back, unfortunately. And, you know, can you blame Brandon and Teresa? Like, why would you go and do that? Mariah says, my mother was adopted, and I think it's truly so weird they won't leave Carly alone. Granted, my mother was older than Carly. She was 6, but she still wanted nothing to do with her natural parents. You know, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like they just keep on trying to convince themselves and convince her. And maybe that's what all this podcast and this like kind of campaign that they're on is, to try to convince Carly maybe that like adoption was bad and it was terrible and that like she shouldn't be happy with her life as it is. But, you know, from what I've heard about her life, it sounds like she's living a pretty charmed life. You know, she's got 2 wonderful, loving parents, a very financially secure household. She's got a brother who is also adopted. So it's really cool to have a sibling who shares that kind of experience with you. She's got a lot of friends at school. She's in extracurricular activities like choir. She's got her little boyfriend and whatnot. Like, she's got a lot going on. So why are they trying to convince themselves so much that she's not in a good place and that things aren't going well and it's doom, it's gloom, she's in a cult? Like, it's a lot. It really is. And maybe, you know what? Maybe they do low key know that OnlyFans had something to do with this. And now they're saying, oh, if you're against, you know, OnlyFans and whatnot, then you must be like overly religious. You must be in a cult, something like that. Right. I don't know. But oh God, I'm still so pissed that they're doing this right at the finish line. They only had 1.5 years left, and they said, let me go blow it all up. For what? For what? Thanks, JJ. So nice to see you, boo. So nice to see you here. Tracy says, I don't believe she will run into Catelynn and Tyler. Listen, how could she? She's all the way in North Carolina. Catelynn and Tyler are in Michigan, right? So yeah, there's just no way. right? Tyler, of all people, should understand that when you keep pushing, it makes, most people go in the other direction. How can they not grasp that they're pushing her away? Exactly. Michelle says, oh, you said run to. I thought you said run into, Tracy. But yeah, I think she could have before all of this, but at this point, no. Michelle says, Brandon and Teresa have no choice on what Tyler and Catelynn say or do. They don't get a preview exactly of what's coming. So why should they want to preview the song? Exactly. It's not fair. If they really wanted the song, I think they would have just listened to it. But I think they knew that there could have been a message that they didn't want out there. And that's ultimately why they chose not to have it. And then they're trying to paint this family like the bad guys. Remember, this is the same man who said, when Brandon and Teresa said, please stop sharing photos of Carly's face, he said, I would give up having a relationship with my daughter if it meant I get to share her face with a bunch of my random followers that I don't even freaking know on Instagram. Like there's an ego there. Again, I don't think he's a bad person, but I think he's got a massive ego. Just saying. Shay says, yeah, it's getting weird and they should let her be. I heard about adoption trauma and I don't think they think about the child's trauma in it at all. Yes, they have a massive, massive platform. A lot of their fans and followers and Teen Mom fans in general feel motivated now and emboldened to stalk this family and to harass this family. And I don't want to blame them, but I do think that they have played a role in that. And I've never, maybe I'm wrong, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have never seen them come out and say, you guys cannot do this. Please leave this family alone. Stop leaking this stuff about them. You know, if you have a fan page or whatever, stop sharing this stuff. They've never come out and said any of that to protect the family, to protect the child. And so I don't know, that rubs me the wrong way. Tyrell says, everyone hears religion and thinks cults. Some people really love church and go multiple times a week and spend most of their time doing things with their church. How does that make you a cult? Exactly. Right? Some people just love whatever it is that they worship, right? And that's okay. We're all different. Maybe it's not something that you're into, but it just is what it is. And especially when it's a child, it's not appropriate to go and say that sort of thing to them. I don't even know that a child knows what a cult is, right? So to go and say, oh, your religion is bad, it's weird, it's restrictive, you need to fight back against your parents, you need to rebel, you guys aren't daredevils or rebels anymore. Like, why would you say that to a kid?